discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Discussion and possible action, special exception request from Hudson Boosters Inc. for parcel 020-1059-00060 at the northeast corner of Highway 12 and Badlands Road for youth athletic fields. I have a question for Bryce. Are you with us, Bryce?
Can you speak up?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can everybody in the back hear you?
Yes.
So, what day did you guys get the request from the boosters?
I don't personally know that. I got sent this a couple weeks ago, but I don't know when the actual submittal was into the town.
All right. Chairman Fowler, would you want to talk to the town and the planning commission?
Briefly, if you'd like. So, in preparation for tonight's meeting, I looked at the materials this morning and saw that the application from the boosters was dated July 22nd. As you see from our application itself, our rules for the town submission require no less than 30 days in advance of the planning committee. So that is not timely. It's clearly on document. In addition, the actual plans in front of you was timestamped received August 11th. It's required, again, our rules require 14 copies to be sent 30 days in advance. So they're outside that timeline. I've consulted with our attorney, Paul Muller, raised the questions therein. In addition, I should also note, there was not a check attached to pay for the special application fee. It could be that they paid earlier, so I'm not really that concerned about that. But I did talk to Paul Muller, and he said, if you have those rules, you need to follow them. And that's what I sent the entire commission here, along with an email indicating that they were outside the time limits of our rules. So I think by our rules, we have to set this for the September meeting. And that's to protect our town from somebody claiming that they're outside of the process, and it protects us from legal action. And that's the opinion of our attorney. And I think we have to stick with it. Thank you for letting me speak.
Can the boosters be heard on this?
Yeah, can you just briefly, did you get this in on time?
So the original application was submitted 10 November 2024. The process, there's two applications that went through, the special exception application and the application for rezoning. So the initial application for special exception was submitted 10 November 2024. The request after the property was rezoned was a request from the staff to amend that application to reflect the changes in the rezone, which I did fill out and submitted, was submitted on 22 July. So if you only have one of the applications, that is the only amendment one, not the original. As far as payment is concerned, there is a $500 check that I had submitted with the original application. Now that process of amending the application is the exact same process that town staff asked me to proceed with when we do the rezoning. Because initially we had looked at amending the ordinance, and then it went to creating a new zoning department. And so I also had amended that one, and there's two applications for that one. So I would disagree that the application was not in on time. What it was the amended application that was requested by town staff. So the original application on 10 November 2024 was never actioned.
Regardless, you have a different set of materials in front of you, which requires 30 days of review. That's our rule. And that's the opinion of our attorney. I don't think we should deviate from it.
Was the attorney made aware that this was an amended application from their application of November 10th, 2024?
The materials are different. So all submissions, that's what it says, all submissions must be 30 days. It's right in the application.
On 4 August, I came to town and asked 3 questions. I asked, anything else I need to do for the meeting on the 18th. I complied positively with the response to all three of those questions.
Who did you talk to?
Chairman Fowler.
And what did he tell you on August 4th?
So the drop materials here, he said 12 applications, and the reason I asked for the number is because the numbers that they requested had changed from one application to the other. I don't know why I assumed how many people needed copies. And then the last question was, what else do you need from us?
And
At that point, it was nothing.
The whole point of this notice requirement is to give you time to review materials, to ask appropriate questions, to ask our engineer questions. And if we're going to hold the property owner, and Mr. Word, you know this as being a building inspector, the rules are the rules and they apply to everybody. And I think that in this particular case, you have new information that is not the same packet that was presented to you in November of 24 or whatever the date was. You got new materials, it's the same deadline. So, yeah.
So that 30-day deadline, I dropped off the last packet for the photometrics this morning because I was not closed last Thursday when the photometrics came in. And I asked the individual here, as I was dropping it off at about 9:15 this morning, has anybody picked up all of the other materials I have submitted? The answer was no.
well, I think since we're the ones who asked them to make the changes, that it's hard for me to say that they're outside of compliance. But we've been looking at this since way before November 10th.
And that's why I asked Bryce, and Eric's on vacation, but I was just hoping Bryce had something in his folder there that gave him some indication of timeline of when he got the material. We count on SEH to do our review for us, and that's why I asked.
There was a review that was submitted by SEH about a week and a half ago. There was a recommendation. They had reviewed it.
Well, I have their report from August 12th. I'm just asking them when they received the original application and if they had time to review it.
Original application was
I'm in a tough spot, Dave. Is this critical that it has to be this month?
It's been a long time coming.
I know it's been a long time.
I think a hard time understanding why so an entire school year has gone by since we started. Another age group of kids have lost an opportunity. How many more are we going to lose?
Hold on, you're not ready to break ground yet. You and I just had this conversation. No kid lost a single thing, so don't put that in writing.
You can't finish unless you start.
And when you submit new things to the town asking for new documentation, we have to follow our process.
So if the town asks for documentation of any projects and you submit it, and it's inside the 30-day review, are they going to wait another 30 days for any other housing project?
If they're submitting something different, it's not going to go on that immediate planning commission by our rules. And we had board action on this to confirm this board's request. So we'd be going against our own meeting and voted on by board members, which are elected by the people. Well, I'm sorry for that, it's our rules. And it's not going to hurt you one bit to come back again in September.
Here's what I'm going to do.
Am I under the correct understanding that you advised him to something contrary to our rules?
No, he asked me, where do you want the copies? Just as he said, and how many? And at that point, we had 2 vacancies, so I said, 12 would be fine.
I thought you also advised him about the timeline.
He never asked me about timelines.
Last question, what else do you need from me for the 18th meeting?
Time.
Fairly open question.
All right, so this is what we're going to do, if the commission's okay with this, is we're going to talk to Bryce and go through what we have, and then we're going to decide whether we're going to vote or not. We've done this before several times. If they did make a deadline long as our engineers had time to thoroughly go over everything, I think is number one. I understand our rules, and I don't want to deviate from them, but we have deviated from them in the past. And so I don't want to get caught up in doing something different than what we have done in the past. So if that's okay, let's have our discussion since we're all here. And then maybe we can ask more questions and request more information if we need it. We don't know since we haven't gone through it yet. And then at the end of our discussion, we can decide to approve it, not approve it, or table it. Does that sound fair to the Plan Commission members?
However, we've allowed late submittals prior to these new rules, the new process.
True. But we have done this in the past.
And that's why we made the new rules.
I understand.
I think there's an argument on whether the rules were broken.
Oh, it's quite.
It's what he says and what he says. It's not, I don't know if they blatantly broke the
All this
rules.
turmoil we've had at the office, I don't hold them up anymore, and I want to give them some feedback. And like I said, if it's okay with the commission, we can have the discussion and then make one of three decisions.
Before we move on, I would recommend, or I would like to see the agenda revised. Make a change to the agenda, item number 4, which references a site plan. We do not have a site plan in front of us. Bryce and Eric did not receive a site plan. If you look at the bottom left-hand corner of what was submitted, you have to blow it up. It says CAD file, this is from ISG, their architect. CAD file name Hudson Boosters Concept, dated 2025-7/31. And this is clearly a concept and not a site plan.
I think we've seen several site plans over the last year.
They've all been drawings just like this. And that is not a site plan.
I'd like to refer to section 105, which is the zoning ordinance and definitions. Site plan is not defined in the definitions under zoning. However, street is defined. If it's not defined, that leaves it open to a level of interpretation. So discussion was made in the level of detail that would be required for a special exception application versus a building permit. With Eric, I don't know if Bryce was involved in that time. And the conclusion at that time was that the plans to the level of detail that we were drawing up would be sufficient for a special application exception, not for the building permit. So two different things.
And not for site plan approval, which leads to the building permit.
A site plan for a set of building permits looks completely different than what you're looking at there.
So you're agreed that number 4, we can change that to a concept?
It's defined in the current ordinance, it says site plan. So we have to call it a site plan. It's not defined in section 105 in our definitions, so that we're going to call, depending on what they've labeled the file, has nothing to do with what it actually is.
I would disagree. It's clearly a concept.
If the word concept is taken out, I could care less.
Well,
If it's a site plan that we can determine if it meets our ordinances or not, I think that's what we have to look at, not the word on the slide.
I don't think, I can't determine that it meets our ordinance from a drawing.
Well, Bryce, can you? Based on the information that you've been given, can you give us?
Yeah, so based on the information, we were able to determine that it was meeting the requirements of the newly created zoning district. They like I said, on the newly created zoning district. So we thought that was enough. We did also know there wasn't stormwater management plans. Typically in other communities, we can condition, special exception approval or whatever other approvals contingent on, updating any plans that needed, and lighting is another example. But in terms of determining whether or not it conforms to the regulations set forth, it appeared that this was sufficient.
Getting back to number 3, this is the special exception request. We've gone through the process of creating a special district, a new zoning district specifically for the roosters. And I think that's the first thing we have to determine is if they've met those criteria for the special exception in this new zoning district. And did you review that as well, Bryce?
Correct.
And
I will, I made a note that, obviously if we are still needing to review the lighting plan, we have to confirm that those requirements are met. The other thing would be, it does mention that they must have frontage on Highway 12. So as of right now, there's no direct access to Highway 12, which is why there's the condition suggested for number 2, that drive access shall be provided in a manner that facilitates future connectivity to Highway 12. The specific method of connection may vary, whether that's through a future roadway or access easement. So as of right now, the site plan would be contingent, with the recommendations, the site plan would be contingent on making that future access to 12.
So I believe on the application, there's a access easement set recorded on both the Boosters property and the property to the north. That's recorded on both parcels, so that access is there. Additionally, we have followed up with Wisconsin DOT to see if there's any concerns based on the existing plan, and the response back from them was they had no concerns at this time based on the project.
I thought there was something with an easement earlier on as well.
But it's an easement that isn't large enough for a road.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, sure it is.
6 feet.
Sure it is.
How wide is your easement?
66 feet.
I refer to 66 feet. I know it's a recorded easement for the purpose of accessing Highway 12. When the property was sold, because you can't sell landlocked property, so the easement was recorded, and it is recorded on both parcels, so it isn't just on one of them. I don't have the easement here.
Bryce, do you know?
I'm trying to look right now at the latest one.
I've seen 50 feet. I don't have the
This one?
documentation with me.
The easement does mention 50 feet as is currently shown on the access easement.
Thank you.
And it's my understanding that that access to Highway 12 could change depending on what the future development would be on that property. And so that's why we created that recommended condition to be a little bit more vague to allow for it, whether it's a public road or an easement that would be reviewed by the town during the CSM review. That would allow for a little bit of flexibility in how exactly that access is created.
So again, getting back to the special exception, Bryce, what items have they not met yet?
For the special exceptions, we would still want to see the stormwater management plans. We did receive the lighting plans that is currently still in review. As I mentioned, in a lot of communities, they may grant approval contingent on that. I haven't attended too many meetings. I'm not exactly sure how you guys prefer doing that. But those are the two things we would definitely want to see access in the future. And then there are certain things such as hours of operation, which I believe the code
what else are they missing for the special exception? Not the site plan, the special exception.
It's my understanding that they have everything except for we're reviewing the lighting. So that's going to be the lighting and the stormwater would be a final review. If we had issues with those, if they weren't meeting code, we would bring it back to the planning commission.
How about number of restrooms?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Number of restrooms. They're talking about a peak of 600 to 700 individuals. That ties into then the size of the septic system.
So in terms of the restrooms, there's no condition or no requirement in the new zoning district that really states anything about restrooms. So we didn't include any sort of analysis for that. The town can consider a condition if it's considered reasonable and measurable. They can consider adding a certain condition, but that's not something that we have typically looked at as part of our reviews.
The state of Wisconsin has a requirement for outdoor bathrooms and stuff.
So, Mr. Gable, Brian, one question, is stormwater part of the special exception application, or is that part of the building permit application?
I think it's part of the building permit application. We won't issue a permit unless it meets our code. Bathroom requirements are in the code. So as far as the number of bathrooms, if the plans you submit aren't adequate, they'll be returned. So if it's not part of the special exception, then I don't care about bathrooms if it's not part of our special exception requirements. I just want to get through with number 3, the special exception request. We keep going back to the site plan and building plans, and I want to do the request, the special exception first. So the lighting is part of the special exception, and the stormwater is part of the special exception?
Yeah, so the lighting is specifically stated in the new zoning district. So that would be, as long as they're meeting those conditions, we would, be fine with it. We recommended that you guys could make the approval contingent on that being met. If it's not that, we can obviously take it back. That is specifically stated in the list of conditions for the special exception. In terms of the stormwater, that is not specifically mentioned, and I would agree it's similar to what you said about the restroom it would still have to meet the requirements. So whether or not we have it listed as a condition to suggest that those be reviewed, whether or not it's in there as a condition, it would be required. So I would assume, or I would say that you guys would, recommend approving the special exception without, fully seeing the stormwater. And you could recommend approving, assuming that the lighting meets all the requirements. Our lighting engineer looked at the previous designs and generally thought that it met. I know that when he reviewed it today, there was a couple of things that he was going to talk with the designers about trying to fix. But we think that they should be able to meet those conditions that are listed in the code.
We were all being aware of this dark sky lighting and things like that before. And we actually put that into our ordinance as part of the approval of getting the special exception, I think. I know the wording wasn't exactly what I wanted, but it's in there. So is there anything else we can discuss about the special exception and just the special exception and not the site?
Bryce, do you know why Eric, in his recommendation, put a 5-year sunset on it?
Number
The
4.
condition about the 5-year?
Yeah.
Well, oftentimes when there's a conditional use or a special exception, it's recommended to have some sort of expiration date. That way, if the exceeds that, then they should have to come back and review plans. But I should reiterate, like I said, there was no specific mention of from the approval date. So if you are not comfortable with that, you can certainly get rid of it. I think there was a 12-month from building permit, but not necessarily approval like this.
Are there any other questions about the special exception? The big question is, how would you like to vote on this? Without giving a motion in a second, I just want to do a straw poll. Which one do you want to do? Approval or disapproval or table? Not to give anything away, so one, approve or disapprove, or two, table. Is that a fair question? Becky?
I feel like I have adequate information to go ahead and move forward with a motion to approve.
Sarah?
Same.
Greg?
I don't have enough information. As I recall back in November, the first meeting here, Dave, you stated that this concept or this plan, whatever you want to call it, wasn't in stone, it could change.
And it did.
And I just
We're not litigating this. The question was, what do you want to do?
It's just a special exception.
You want to vote on it up or down?
I want to speak.
Yeah.
My point is, in 5 years, it's going to change again. I think 5 years is too long.
Well, you have to give them time to fundraise. This is all 100% private fundraise. This is not
If
taxpayer
there's
dollars.
any
This is not something
significant changes, they'll have to come back. And we can make that part of our recommendation is if there's a significant change, then it must come back through the process. I don't disagree with you at all. We can't give anybody a carte blanche, social exception, to do anything.
I hear you.
Yeah,
Same.
me the same too. So would anyone like to make a motion to approve this?
I'll make a motion
To
to recommend approval on, wait, so I
Special
can't include the special exception, so I can't include the stormwater and the lighting plan being approved contingent on these two things?
You can
The
do the
lighting
lighting.
plan contingent.
lighting not
What about the
Okay,
future?
so contingent on the lighting
You
plan.
have to,
It's not specific enough yet.
okay.
They have access by easement,
We just
whether it's 50 or 66. But all it says in our special exception doesn't say 66, it just says access.
So I'll make a motion that we recommend approval based on the lighting plan meeting,
Contingent on the lighting. plan.
contingent on the lighting plan meeting being requirements.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. As far as the site plan goes, same kind of thing. I'm less apt to approve this. I would like more information on, make sure that we have our stormwater and maybe we can get the lighting done by next month too. It has to get done anyways, and those things take time.
Have you started the meetings with the county for the stormwater plan?
No. So I wouldn't mind tabling number 4. Unless you have more questions, based on what we have, if there's more information we need besides stormwater and lighting. Parking has always been a question. I don't know if you've addressed that.
The parking calculations, from what I can tell, they exceed what we require, by like 100 parking spaces.
So on the,
Per our ordinance, but in reality.
I could probably chime in there a little bit. So in the initial meeting on 14 August, we talked about 50 spaces or more per field. The one advantage that we have here in Hudson is we have almost 20 years of experience holding tournaments at Grandview. So Grandview is 4 fields in quad. So there's a varsity baseball field and field 5 down below the varsity baseball field, which is another field the boosters have built. Grandview is 232 parking stalls. We run tournaments up there consistently. Softball often uses all 5 fields, 4 in the quad plus field 5 down below. We have zero problem with people parking off-site using 5 fields with 232 parking stalls. The issue becomes when the varsity field is being used at the same time as we have a 5-field tournament, meaning 6 fields are active, and then oftentimes they park in the boulevard. So I think if you do the numbers, if you do 5 fields, 232, it's about 46 cars per field, and this one is at 55.8 or so. And we have additional space available on site for expansive parking grass, or it could be expanding the parking lots that are there. We did try to divide the parking lot up. We have what's called overflow. And the reason for that was to try to keep as much traffic away from the eastern neighbors as possible. So during normal Monday through Friday, probably tournaments league games, we can just block that off and, not have any traffic noise down that direction. So that's why it's labeled overflow. So don't think of that as not being part of the overall parking. So we separated it out for thinking of the neighbors on the east as part of the feedback the neighborhood needs to be had. So we're very comfortable with the current parking, but we're open to discussion. If there's better numbers that come out, if you use the Google Field Guide, it's a pretty wide range. And like I said, what we have is almost 20 years of experience, like knowing who's going to show up, how often they come, and we have no issues using the parking banner and being able to park everybody outside with confidence.
If parking becomes an issue and they start parking on Badlands or Wilford, or I don't think there's any parking available on Highway 12, or Jermaine to the east there. If that happens, we could always put up no parking signs like we did around the soccer fields. But if they can contain everybody on their property, that would be a good thing. Or we can talk to Trinity. If Trinity's not using theirs, you can make a path for their parking lot. I don't know how far that is from their fields.
Well, if they're looking to build a school there, doesn't make sense for them to build outside athletic space if we're sitting right there.
Anyways, getting back to the site plan, we do need stormwater, we do need final light approvals.
What about a berm on the east? There's a tree buffer, but no berm where the overflow parking, or no buffer where the overflow parking could be in the field warm-up area. That was the ordinance may be required as a buffer.
Do they have room to make a berm outside the field before they get to the property line?
I think that should be addressed in the future site plan, whether they will or will not do it. Or have the room to do it.
North of that tree line, that's what you want?
I'm just trying to.
Should be enough room there.
What's that?
There should be enough room there.
For trees.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can get a berm in there, not much of a berm.
I'd also like to see a drawing of the restroom concession stand with elevations.
You need that. Well, otherwise they have to come back. similar to what we do for any new commercial building. We require elevations for the buildings. You don't have to have, it's a rendering, I guess.
Actually, everything else we got, freaking storage facilities all over this place. You know, that's a rendering like that.
Yeah, we have building sizes, type of construction, things like that.
Well, that's a building.
Well, it's both, but it still has to go through the site plan approval first. In the Any other discussion on site plan?
Did you state the road, the access?
Well, it's a private, is it going to be a private road with Travis? Or is it going to be a public road down to the part that goes south? I guess if that's not clear enough, that should be nailed down as well, as far as access through Walsh's property.
So other than the easement, the parties, I guess specifically where you.
Well, if the easement only says 50 feet, the town requires 66 for a public street. So I want that nailed down. If it needs to be changed to 66, then you'll have to go through that hearing of that easement process.
Because I recall,
I thought Travis was going to make extra lots out there and have them on a public road. So he would have to have it at 66 feet anyway, but if it's only recorded at 50 feet, that needs to get changed. And that should be, he should be amenable to that, if he wants a public street.
Was he doing with the landlord to the left of that?
Not the part that goes south.
No, the east-west portion.
The east-west, I think, has to be public no matter what.
yeah,
And I think Travis wants to have the South Road public as well, so he can sell lots on both sides of the road. I remember his concept that he came. So,
and I recall when that land, last time that land was subdivided, all along 12, that we stated that there would be required town road for access to all those properties.
I agree. That's why I don't think 50 is going to do it.
Agreed.
So, stormwater, lighting, at least discuss the septic area, make sure it's big enough with somebody that can design septic systems based on the number of people, and then the road right away. Anything else you can think of, Bryce?
No, not at this time. If there's anything else that comes up, we can surely discuss. Yeah, I did want to just touch on the concept plan that I saw for the land to the north showed a town road. So I'm guessing that that's what it would become, but for the staff report, we kind of wrote the language, like I said, in case it made sense to do an access easement, whether it's just for a portion, we kind of wrote it that way just in case. But you guys would be reviewing, a certified survey map. More than likely, I mean, if it goes to subdivided, you guys would be able to review and require dedication. So, in my opinion, that can be a discussion for a different day. May that change the exact alignment of where that access track goes to the north. It may move slightly, depending on how much that moves, then we may have to come back. But just wanted to kind of point that out.
And then would that road actually be required to be 80 feet? Or would 66 be enough for this district? somewhere in our ordinance, in commercial and industrial, I believe it's 80 feet. Not that the boosters need 80 feet, but Travis might need 80 feet.
Yeah, I don't know offhand, I can certainly check, but yes, regardless of what it is, they would have to meet that minimum requirement.
And then did we ever talk about if the boosters get there before Walshman actually builds the road? Will the boosters be required to bring those roads up to town standards with blacktop? All of those things?
No, certainly a good question on how you handle that. I don't know exactly how that's going to work between that agreement between the two. Like I said, without really seeing what's proposed for whether it's a town street. I'm not sure exactly how. I guess how we wrote it was that they just wouldn't be able to start the project to develop until there was some sort of connection to 12. So in terms of the exact, who's doing what, that would probably be something that comes about when there's, proposed development to the north.
So the,
And then would probably be a better question for Eric to confirm. That would be more of his call.
have we had much discussion with Walshman's?
Yeah, so that's actually where I got the picture of the access point there from Travis. So we haven't got to the point of like timing, and we talked about shared expenses on the roads. So that's where it's at, because neither one of us is very control. So we get closer to that point. Might be a good discussion.
But for our discussion, it would be nice to see something in writing from you, between you and Travis, on some sort of agreement. It doesn't have to be very specific.
I don't know who's going to start.
But there has to be some sort of agreement on what's in it.
I might start. We'll do it, we'll start together.
Whatever it is. I mean, we want to make sure that they have access to it. There's a 50 reason.
I mean, it's an emotion.
It's emotional.
He's going to come back and
I know it is, but if they're going to do theirs before he does.
I see what you're saying. I don't see it as a big sticky thing, but I understand what you're saying.
We wouldn't approve a subdivision without roads.
I got stories about subdivision. Some lawyer down the line away. And this
Today we would.
Anyways.
we approved a driveway for you at my dad's subdivision off of cul-de-sac. Didn't they? 20 years ago?
No, it was a town road.
I guess my question is, what else would we need to complete the requirements?
That's what I'm working on. Have you been making notes? We got stormwater, septic, lighting, access, building, yes.
You want some kind of agreement?
Yes, some sort of agreement. That's part of the access. And then the buildings, just lost the term. I was looking for. Elevations of the buildings. Anything else?
This doesn't suffice for elevations and positions.
I don't know. Is that the only building we're putting up? Is it-
Is this the only building you're putting up in this space?
That's the picture of the concession, so there's a quick building.
Bathrooms, or bathrooms part of the concession?
Bathrooms are part of the main building.
Restrooms are in this.
Anyways, just more instead of a picture, more of a detail of elevations.
So you want elevations
Size-
of the
size of
concession of other
buildings.
buildings?
That's just
Dimensions. Oh, exactly.
As long as we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it once.
What are the green buildings each side of each field.
Those might,
The structures, not buildings.
Dugouts?
No, not buildings.
The circular thing?
No,
That might be.
Is that bullpen? Oh, I think that's a bullpen. But yeah, bullpen.
a bullpen.
Picture of some.
It's more like a cage.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking that area. Alright, what are we doing now?
So getting back to our site plan approval, I would move that we table this until we get more information. Second.
Second.
All right, further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, motion carried. We move the special exception along to the town board, but the town board still has to approve. We just recommend to the town board to approve it, meaning that they can do it by simple majority. If we turned it down, they would need a super majority vote. So this way, we only need a simple majority of the town board. And as far as the site plan goes, if you want, you can be on the next month's agenda. If you think you can have those things done.
Yeah, I guess I would request just a list, an email list of what we're looking for, and I can just use that as an email chain, get it to ISG, maybe start.
Bryce, can you do that?
The county for stormwater, we'll do that too.
SEH will do that. Between
Okay.
SEH and our office, we'll get you.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah,
thank
we
you.
will correspond with you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right, discussion and possible action changing the plan commission meeting time to 6 p.m. Thoughts?
Yes.
I'd rather keep it at 7 myself. I just finished eating dinner at 6:30. It's 7.
We compromise it at 6:30.
I'm really flexible. I'm fine either way, so.
But it gets a little, in the winter. If the Packers are on that football, so happily playing well. Which is a long shot. 6:30?
What's the consensus? What, you don't care, Sarah,
I'm flexible, but they're earlier, I prefer earlier.
Amanda, Tony,
I like earlier, but I'll be here when it will be.
Greg?
Prefer.
You went earlier?
It's either at
I mean, I-
I was gonna say,
Do we-
do I have to ramp up dinner time?
You start with the 5 guys for Brian.
Or I eat after.
I need to have to.
And then it gets down to, okay, can't be pizza,
Could just be a
barbecue.
Could just be a leftover night.
All right. Who wants to make a motion?
I move to change our meeting time to 6 p.m.
Beginning next month.
Might as well.
Okay, beginning September 8th.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. 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 All right, motion carried. Any other proper business?
It's only once a month we try to change the time.
Well, we haven't had one.
Can I just ask a question? I heard you mention something, or somebody mentioned something about when our packets were available to be picked up. Is that something, maybe I haven't been figured, is that something that we
I just stopped by Brian's office looking for a copy earlier, and there was nothing on hand, so.
Yeah, just want to make sure I
Wait, so
understand like what the
they
typical
want to
process
pass
is.
it?
You can expect.
They always come here.
Paper stuff that's here, and they have to submit an electronic copy of their entire application, so that's what I
That's
sent
what you
out.
want.
I would suggest you talk to the new interim clerk, Frank, and see if you can figure out a time in advance that it should be ready by.
Okay.
He's easy to deal with.
But as long as we get it electronically, I mean, it's nice on some of the big subdivisions, they have the big sheets for the little details, but most of the things electronically is fine, especially SEH's review. I've been counting on that more than.
That's mainly what I,
Well, because these are copies of the packets that are out, right, that sitting on our tables there.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Like this, I didn't have this was here.
Correct.
So, and then the application.
I mean, it happens fairly regularly. We get here, there's something new or different or in addition, so.
As long as our engineers get the full set electronically, I think they've been getting those. Yeah, you can stop by this at the town hall a couple weeks ahead of time, or a week ahead of time if you want to.
Okay.
It's fine, they should have. If they don't, we should discuss. Any further discussion?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Right.